Welcome to the video. Many YouTubers say that China is going to collapse in 3 seconds. China's economy is going to crash soon. Chinese debt crisis is going to destroy everything. So is China actually in a crisis, or is China on its way to becoming the most powerful country in the world? Let's find out. When you normally use YouTube, you might have seen videos like these. China will go bankrupt in 27 days. It's game over for China. It's the end of China. The CCP has fallen. No one is safe. Are these videos telling you the truth? No, of course not, because these videos were made years ago and China has not collapsed like these videos claimed. Videos like China's imminent collapse do very well on YouTube, so that's why these YouTubers make videos like this. Another reason why these YouTubers make videos like these is that a lot of these YouTubers are American or from Western countries, and they have always lived in a world where America was the sole superpower. So it is difficult for them to cope with the fact that another superpower is rising and becoming a peer competitor to America. So is the video that you are watching going to be another one of these kind of videos? No, we will look at some of the claims made in these kind of videos and see whether they are true or not. The primary claim that we are looking today is that China has a very big debt problem. Some YouTubers have claimed that China's debt problem is 300% bigger than America's. Some have claimed that China has a huge mounting debt crisis. So is China going through a secret debt crisis? To find out whether these people are wrong or right, let's take a little bit of a look at China's economic history. According to the World Bank, China has brought more people out of extreme poverty than any other country in human history. China joined World Trade Organization in 2001, and after that China started doing a lot of trade with other countries, and other countries started investing huge amounts of money in China to gain revenue and profits. With these new investments, new technology, new market and new sectors opened up for China. Unlike China, some other countries have faced the problem of human capital, meaning that the people in some countries were not very well educated, did not have proper healthcare services, did not have proper training to do jobs in a cheap and efficient manner. But since the Communist Party of China started ruling China, they focused a lot in making people educated and giving people proper healthcare. These policies made China one of the best countries in the world for human capital. With China joining the wider global economy, China getting investments, doing trade, and China having cheap and good human capital, China underwent huge growth from around the year 2000 to the year 2025. As you can see, between the year 2003 and 2023, China had the fastest growth among major world economies. Now you might have seen people calling China's economy a state capitalist, socialist, communist, authoritarian capitalism. So what is China's economy? Socialist or capitalist? During the initial years of modern China under Mao Zedong, China had a very socialist economy. After Deng Xiaoping initiated many reforms in China, right now China has a mixed economic system, which has many elements of socialism and many elements of capitalism. Let me make it easy for you. Like, let's say this is socialism, this is capitalism, and this is the middle. China is somewhere around here or here. China is somewhere around here, around this area. While countries like America, India, other European and developing countries are here. But under Mao Zedong, China used to be around this area, here. So in future, China can stay here, China can move towards a socialist economic system, or China can move towards a capitalist economic system. Now the economy is not really as simple as one side having socialism and one side having capitalism, but this is a simplified version of economical systems. In PPP terms, China has the biggest economy in the world, but in nominal terms, China lags behind United States. GDP per capita of China is around half of UK and 1/3 of United States. According to a research by Australian Strategic Policy Institute, China now leads in 37 of 44 advanced technologies. These technologies include electric batteries, 5G, 6G technology, biotech, AI, nanoscale materials, etc. China's 5-year plans and industrial policies have been so successful that even the free market economy supporters in United States have started copying some of China's industrial policies. Biden passed Chips and Science Act, which included many subsidies like those in China. Under Trump, US government started taking equity stakes in many companies. This policy is very common in China. So if these policies have been so successful that even the free market supporters in United States have started implementing some of them, why are people saying that China will collapse? Why are people saying China will collapse in 7 days? Why is this the end of China? Some of this is because they want to get views on YouTube. But the other reason is that there are some problems with China. China is of course not problem free. A lot of things are going well for China, but China has some problems. Let's look at people claiming China has a huge debt problem. China's mounting debt crisis. China's general government debt to GDP ratio is around 89%, while America's is 120%, Canada 110%, France 113%, and UK 101%. Japan is of course in another world, and Japan's general government debt as a percentage of GDP is around 240%. Now let's take economics explained numbers. That China's debt problem is 300% bigger than America's. Taking a look at government debt, to be 300% bigger than America's debt, China's debt would have to be around 480%, while in reality it is 90%. While America's bond yield is around 4%, China's bond yield is 1.8%. This number being low means that China's debt payment is very low. Comparatively, China spends very little amount of money for fulfilling its debt obligations. So of course China's problem is not 300% bigger than America's. Although if you use IMF's augmented definition, then China's general government debt rises to around 124% of GDP, mainly due to local government financing vehicle. Using LGFV, a local Chinese government can borrow money and raise funds for public projects without showing the debt directly on the government's balance sheet. Although this is a problem mainly for local governments in rural China, even if local governments undergo a default, that will be a problem, but to a very less degree than if China's central government or China's regional government underwent defaults. That would be a very big problem for China, but that does not seem to be happening anytime soon. Chinese central government has also indicated that it would not bail out a bankrupt LGFV. So you cannot really compare this financing method to China's central and regional government debt, which is much more important. LGFVs are going through a lot of problems, but this can mainly affect and enforce a slowdown to some rural local government in China. Although this will be a problem, but this will not be extremely significant to China's overall economy. So you cannot really add these and say that China's debt is very big. And even if you do consider the LGFV debt as being as significant as the Chinese central government debt, it will only raise China's debt to GDP ratio to 124%. Not 480%. And although private debt, loans and debt securities is very big for China, being around 205% of China's GDP compared to 140% in United States, 170% in Australia, 140% in United Kingdom, if an economy has a large growth rate, then debt is not very big of an issue, especially if the debt is used in a productive way. China is estimated to have a GDP growth of around 5% compared to 1 or 2% in developed countries. This is a problem both for developed countries and China, but this is also not very significant. There are generally two ways of solving huge government debt problem. First is growing your economy at a very large rate. Second is repaying your original debt and not taking more debts. Although the latter is much easier than the former, it is possible, although very difficult, to solve your debt problem by increasing your economy's growth rate. Some people also consider debt taken by China's state-owned companies as being nearly equivalent to China's general government debt, but this is a completely stupid thing to do. These in many ways, especially after reforms, can function a lot like normal corporations, but the central or regional government can't. There are a lot more reasons why you cannot take state-owned enterprises' debt and consider it as China's government debt. If you found this video interesting, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and thanks for watching.